Hi everybody. I just want a little catch up, a little bit of keep up as to what's happening. Sorry, I'm just getting work sorted. A couple things. One, we didn't obviously have a live session last night, so sorry about that. We will do something somewhat special next week. I have an idea, which I will not necessarily say right now, but it's getting to it's just about rethinking some stuff. So currently the way the tiers work on Patreon is that you should really only be on the live session if you're in the second or third tier. I'm thinking of changing that up a little bit, and I'm linking it. What I'll do is I'll just get anybody can join the live session, but then people in the second tier and the third tier will have their own character drawn up. Or created by me only in the second or third tier. So that's just something to look at. And again, have a look at the link, Patreon/Midnight Comics, capital M, capital C. And it would be fantastic to have as many people on as possible. I'm noticing the subscribers on YouTube's gone up a little bit, so I appreciate that as well. I had my sister over the weekend. She was... sister came over with her husband. Nice, really, really nice to spend time with her. It was really, really great just to see them again. But she said that she was watching the YouTube videos, which is weird. I know maybe I'm just looking at it in a weird way, but it's nice to that she just kind of watches these YouTube. She doesn't watch any of the actual videos. She watches these vlogs. So hi, you know, which is just funny. But in any case, it was quite funny just to see that my sister's on and her husband is subscribed to to YouTube. Is that weird? It doesn't matter. Anyway, one thing that I was thinking of doing, and I was talking about it with someone else, and it might be a joint thing. I might do it myself, but it would be cool to do it as a joint thing. So would be reviews, and I'm not necessarily saying that we'll just do say comic book reviews, but if we did comics and manga and films and things like that. I'm a huge film person, by the way. I absolutely love movies, which is why if you haven't seen any of the comics or manga that I've made in the past, you can check those out in Global Comics, by the way. There's a few up in Global Comics. All of them have like a cinematic feel to it. There's always some form of cinema, almost cinema emotion to it, if you know what I mean. Like if you watch it, there's always some sort of cinematic appeal to those comics and those manga. So do check those out in Global Comics. There are a few of them that should be free here and there. One which I'm half thinking of doing, and this is kind of the idea for next week, so I need to talk with a few people about this first, but there's an old, not necessarily old, but there was a classic, I suppose, comic or manga as a 4 that I made. 4 as in 4 panels in one page, and that's pretty much the entire story. And I made it with Jay. So Jay, who I'm currently working with on this long-term project. And I made this with Jay, and a lot of the ideas were, so he came up with the original concept. I would write down ideas for the stories. He would go back and change them, fix them up, change the dialogue and whatnot. So we'd have the 4 panels. Then I'd go over, look at review it. So we had a bit of a collaboration with that, and it was really nice just to do, because it was something short, and I could do like a page in like 2 hours. It was easy enough to get sorted, and the style was a lot more fun, and it was a lot more bubbly compared to some of the other stuff that I've done, especially with Jay. Jay has an issue with making things really emotional. Anyway, part of me is thinking that if I maybe do live session next Sunday of almost like we're making a 4 together. We're making a Grace and Ruin maybe together, which could be cool. But I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll talk about it a little bit more. But I do have a couple of ideas, so that's just one of them for next Sunday. It will be a special one, so do definitely tune in next Sunday, 8 p.m. UK time. If you are free, great. US time would be like 2 o'clock in the afternoon Sunday, which I know people are busy, and I believe it's Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day next Sunday. So if Mum you're watching, happy Mother's Day. I doubt it. She doesn't even know. In any case, do think about coming and joining, and we'll try and make something together. Write down stories, write down some ideas, write down some... I may even make characters and whatnot. We'll have like an hour and whatnot to bash something out, and it'd be really nice just to get like a collaborative community thing going. So definitely subscribe to this. Anybody can join on. You don't have to be onto the tiers for the Patreon for this special. So it'd be great just for people to join in. If you have ideas already, we'll see if we can take some ideas and join them together and maybe create something. It doesn't have to be Grayson. I don't think it will be Grayson Ruin, but it could be a 4 coma type thing. It will be four panels with this character or something, just doing something. We'll see how it works. And we can write it together, we can work on it together. So just think about it. It'd be really nice just to come up with something as a team. That's the whole point of the Patreon, is that it's not just my stories, but it's all of our stories coming together. Because I wanted it to be a very collaborative, very community-based thing. Anyway, so do join. It will be really fun. One more thing that I think is worth doing now, when you are using the drawing tablets and whatnot for making art compared to doing with paper, you've got a lot more tools in front of you, so you can be a lot more accurate with your line work. You can be a lot more accurate with mirroring or symmetry lines and things like that. So for example, if you were going to have a background and there's a symmetry line going directly down the center, this side will look the same as that side, and I only need to draw on this side. There's a great symmetry ruler that I've got in Clip Studio, for example, that does it. Procreate does that. I'm pretty sure Photoshop has a similar thing as well. Definitely check it out because it's a fun little thing to do. But I guess the point I was making is that just if you're using traditional stuff or you're using the digital stuff, there's nothing stopping you from, for example, using a ruler on both. You can use a ruler for your line work for your paper, and you can use a ruler on top of the tablet and just draw with that. I do that sometimes as opposed to holding shift. The reason I don't necessarily hold shift and move the line sometimes is because the line weight doesn't vary enough. And yeah, you can do a straight line just by looking at where is the destination that you want to get to, and just your arm will kind of move into that line. So I think I'll maybe do a little tutorial or whatnot or things like that eventually after this is done, after this competition is done. But one thing that I was going to mention is stencils. Stencils are a huge help. So I just went to a thrift store, like literally, was it yesterday? Saturday. I went to a thrift store on Saturday. Now I had already got things like circle stencils and square or rectangle stencils and things like that. And I went to like an art store to actually buy them, and they cost quite a lot of money. But then, because my wife is so amazing, she happened to spot something that was like from a game, from like a kid's art thing. And all it was is like a bunch of stencils like this. So, I mean, look at that, speech bubbles. You can do clouds, you can do circle, there's loads of stuff here. And it was like, just from this art game, now I don't entirely know what I'm going to use some of these for. I'm going to move this back. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to use some of these for, but the options are there. There's loads. I mean, look at this. I could do, what is that? Flowers, palm trees, leaves. There's loads and loads of stuff that you could do here. So the idea is, yes, you can use them for traditional media or medium, but you can also do it for your digital medium. Just stick the stencil on top of your thing, zoom into the point that you want to zoom in, and draw over it, adjusting the line weight as you see fit. The one kind of downfall is depending on the pen you use. So this pen is what I've got, and you can probably see, I know it's not necessarily in focus, but the nib is tiny compared to the area around the nib is quite large, which means that the stencil doesn't necessarily or the distance from the edge of the stencil to where your pen is actually touching the pad is larger, as opposed to just a pencil on paper. So there's maybe something that you need to adjust with or work on a little bit. But again, use them and you'll get used to them, and you'll know how to adjust and work the stencil into your art. It makes the lines cleaner, it makes everything look sharper, makes it look much nicer. So just things to think about. In any case, I know it's supposed to be a small little update. We are still working on this competition manga. And again, join us for the live session on Sunday. Do consider subscribing to the Patreon. It's massive help to everyone, me, my family, my kids. They need food. But do definitely join. It's always fun to have you there. I do want to work on this as a big collaborative thing. We've got a few people on the Patreon already. Really massive help. And obviously the subscribers are growing somewhat, which is great to see. And thank you very much for everyone who has subscribed already. So do Patreon/Midnight Comics. Join us any tier you want. It'd be great. And subscribe and like the video or whatever. Right? Do what you need to do. In any case, that's me. I'm signing off. So I'll catch you at the next one. Thanks a lot.